The temporarily broke. This one doesn't consider themselves poor, and they will make sure you understand that difference within the first 30 seconds of any conversation that gets too close to the topic. The temporarily broke person has a plan, a very specific, very detailed plan involving a promotion, a side hustle, a drop shipping store, or some combination of all three that is always about 90 days away from changing absolutely everything. They're not struggling, they're in their building era. The iPhone is still current, the sneakers are still clean, the lifestyle hasn't been adjusted yet, because adjusting it would mean admitting the situation is actually real. Here's the honest part. Some of these people are completely right. The plan works, the income changes, and a year later the whole thing becomes a LinkedIn post about the grind paying off. The rest stay permanently 90 days away from the breakthrough that never shows up. The generationally poor. This isn't a bad year. This isn't a fixable situation or a string of wrong decisions. This is a family that has been poor long enough that poverty stopped being a circumstance and became the entire operating system everything else runs on. The schools available were underfunded, the neighborhoods accessible were underserved. The information received about money, credit, investing, and opportunity was shaped by people who never had access to any of it either. Generational poverty in America is the one type on this list that has the least to do with individual choices and the most to do with the zip code a person was born into, which nobody on this list selected. The data is consistent and has been for decades. Escaping it requires effort plus access plus luck, in a combination that is significantly harder to produce than most people who've never needed it are willing to acknowledge out loud. The working poor. This is the one that should genuinely make anyone uncomfortable who still believes hard work is always enough. The working poor have jobs, sometimes two, sometimes a full-time shift and a weekend gig, and a side arrangement just to keep the numbers close to working. They show up, clock in, do exactly what the system recommends, and at the end of every month, the math still doesn't land. Rent in most American cities has increased faster than wages have in years. One unexpected expense, a car repair, a medical bill, a broken appliance, undoes weeks of careful budgeting in a single afternoon. There is no savings cushion absorbing the impact because there was never quite enough left over to build one. The working poor aren't failing to try. They're trying inside an economy where the numbers were never designed to produce a different result for people starting exactly where they started. The lifestyle creep victim. This person was never actually poor until they quietly engineered their own financial collapse, one completely reasonable upgrade at a time. The raise came in, and so did the nicer apartment in a better part of town. The promotion landed, and so did the lease on something newer with better safety ratings. The income went up, and the expenses went up faster, consistently, invisibly, until a salary that genuinely should have been building something is entirely accounted for before it clears the direct deposit. Lifestyle creep is the most invisible financial trap in America because every single decision inside it makes complete sense in isolation. The slightly nicer place is reasonable. The more reliable car is reasonable. The problem is never the individual upgrade. It's what happens when every upgrade arrives before the foundation underneath it is actually strong enough to hold the weight. The educated broke. Advanced degree, real debt, a career path that exists inside a field that does not pay anywhere close to what the cost of entering it quietly implied it would. The educated broke person followed every instruction in the correct sequence, studied seriously, got the credentials, pursued the path that was supposed to lead somewhere stable, and arrived at a monthly student loan payment that directly competes with rent for which one gets paid first. Over 43 million Americans are currently carrying federal student loan debt. A significant portion of them work in fields where the salary and the loan payment were never going to make sense at the same time. The degree was supposed to be the solution. For a lot of people holding one, it became a different kind of problem with a much longer timeline.
The one disaster away. This person is not poor right now. The bills are current, the job is stable, everything looks completely fine from the outside. and the entire thing is approximately one significant event away from coming apart. One medical emergency, one layoff, one transmission going out on the only car that gets them to work, 1 month where something unavoidable takes priority over the rent. Nearly 60% of Americans cannot cover an unexpected $1,000 expense from savings alone. That number has been reported so many times it stopped feeling shocking, which is its own kind of problem. The one disaster away person isn't irresponsible. They're living in an economy where the margin between stable and crisis is smaller than the highlight reel version of American success has ever been willing to show. The chronic debtor. This person has been in debt long enough that debt stopped feeling like an emergency and started feeling like a permanent feature of ordinary life. Minimum payments on credit cards that never actually get smaller. Buy now, pay later on things that stopped being useful before the final installment cleared. A personal loan taken out to handle a previous balance that was taken out to handle something before that. The average American household carries over $6,000 in credit card debt, and a significant portion of those households have been carrying some version of it for years without the number meaningfully changing. The chronic debtor isn't necessarily reckless. Many of them arrived here through one difficult season that compounded faster than it could be corrected. The real trap is how completely normal the cycle starts to feel after enough time inside it. The too proud to ask. This person is dealing with something genuinely fixable. Benefits they qualify for but won't apply for, assistance programs that exist and are available but won't be touched, conversations that would actually help but will never be started. Pride is doing more financial damage here than any single bad decision, and the frustrating part is that this isn't irrational. In a lot of American communities, the stigma attached to needing help is completely real. The judgment from family and neighbors is completely real, and the identity built around self-sufficiency runs deep enough that accepting help feels like losing something that can't be recovered. The too proud to ask person would rather manage a genuinely difficult situation entirely alone than let anyone in their life understand the actual size of it. The cost of that pride, added up over years, almost always exceeds the cost of the help they refused. The minimalist by necessity. Not the person who chose minimalism as a content niche and now sells a course about owning fewer than 30 items. This person owns less because less is what the budget actually allowed, not because a philosophy arrived one afternoon and reorganized their entire relationship with stuff. The genuinely interesting thing that research keeps turning up, people who practice involuntary minimalism frequently develop healthier and more intentional relationships with spending than people who have the option to consume freely and simply chose not to. Necessity taught them something real, that the lifestyle version sometimes only performs for an audience. The difference between the two is one that the internet consistently refuses to sit with, mostly because one of them makes a significantly more aesthetic Instagram grid. The almost made it. This one hits differently. The almost made it person got genuinely close. The business had real traction, the investment was actually working, the career had built enough momentum that the next step felt inevitable. And then something happened that the plan didn't account for. The market turned at exactly the wrong moment, the business partner made a decision that couldn't be reversed. The health issue arrived 6 months before the financial cushion was large enough to survive it. The almost made it person isn't in this position because they didn't work hard enough or want it badly enough. They're here because the actual margin between making it and not making it is frequently much smaller than the people who cleared it are comfortable admitting. And because timing, which nobody gets to control, consistently matters more than effort, which is the thing everybody prefers to talk about. 10 types. One country where most people are quietly living somewhere on this list. Which one do you think is the hardest to escape? Drop it below.